Welcome to History with Herodotus, where the vast expanse of human experience comes alive through the stories of our past. Today, we embark on a fascinating journey through the realms of time to explore the captivating tale of the Qing Dynasty and the fall of imperial China. This epic narrative will transport us to a world of majesty and turmoil, where the whispers of history still linger in the winds of change. In the early 17th century, the Ming Dynasty, which had ruled China for nearly 3 centuries, began to show signs of weakness. The once mighty empire, known for its stunning porcelain, intricate silk fabrics, and majestic architecture, was now facing internal strife, economic woes, and external threats. As the Ming's grip on power faltered, a new force emerged from the northern borders, a people known as the Manchu. The Manchu, a Tungusic ethnic group from northeastern China, had been gradually building their strength and organization under the charismatic leadership of Nurhaci, a chieftain who united various tribes and began to challenge the Ming's authority. In 1616, Nurhaci declared himself the Khan of the later Qing Dynasty, marking the beginning of a new era in Chinese history. As the Manchu armies expanded their territories, they adopted many of the administrative and cultural practices of the Ming, laying the groundwork for the eventual establishment of the Qing Dynasty. Meanwhile, within the Ming Empire, eunuchs, who had long played a significant role in imperial politics, were increasingly dominating the government. The eunuch Wei Zhongxian, in particular, wielded enormous power and influence, often using his position to further his own interests and crush his enemies. However, his reign of terror ultimately led to his downfall, as a coalition of scholars and officials conspired against him. As the Ming's internal conflicts intensified, the Manchu continued their relentless march towards the imperial capital, Beijing. In 1644, the rebel leader Li Zicheng, who had risen to prominence by exploiting the widespread discontent with the Ming government, captured Beijing and proclaimed himself emperor. However, his reign was short-lived, as the Manchu armies, now led by the capable and cunning Dorgan, swept into the city and claimed it for themselves. The Qing's founder, the Shunji emperor, who was only a child at the time, would face numerous challenges as he navigated the treacherous waters of imperial politics, foreign invasions, and internal rebellions. The early years of the Qing dynasty were marked by a series of significant events, including the establishment of the imperial court in Beijing, the creation of a new administrative system, and the launch of military campaigns to pacify the rebellious provinces. The Manchu rulers, aware of their own cultural identity, sought to balance their traditional ways with the need to adapt to the complexities of Chinese governance. They implemented policies aimed at promoting stability, encouraging economic growth, and fostering a sense of unity among the diverse populations under their rule. As the Qing dynasty began to take shape, its leaders faced numerous challenges, from the lingering loyalty of Ming loyalists to the ever-present threat of foreign invasion. The Russian Empire, in particular, posed a significant challenge as it sought to expand its influence in East Asia and gain access to Chinese markets. The Qing's response to these threats would be shaped by a complex interplay of diplomatic, military, and cultural factors which would ultimately determine the course of their imperial ambitions. In the midst of this tumultuous period, a figure emerged who would play a crucial role in shaping the Qing dynasty's future, the Kangxi Emperor. A wise and visionary leader, Kangxi would go on to become one of the most celebrated emperors in Chinese history, known for his military conquests, administrative reforms, and cultural achievements. His reign, which spanned over 6 decades, would be marked by a series of significant events, including the consolidation of Qing rule, the expansion of the empire's borders, and the development of a vibrant cultural scene. As the Kangxi Emperor's reign progressed, he became increasingly focused on consolidating Qing rule and expanding the empire's borders. In 1683, he launched a successful campaign against the Kingdom of Tungying, a Ming loyalist state on the island of Taiwan, incorporating it into the Qing Empire. This marked a significant milestone in the Qing's quest for dominance over East Asia. The Kangxi Emperor's military prowess was further demonstrated by his campaigns against the Mongols and the Russians, securing crucial trade agreements and border treaties that would shape the course of Chinese history. One notable event during this period was the visit of the Jesuit priest, Father Thomas Pereira, to the Qing court in 1692. Pereira, who had been serving as a missionary in China since 1672, was instrumental in introducing European music and astronomy to the emperor, showcasing the advanced knowledge of Western sciences. The Kangxi Emperor was particularly fascinated by the telescope, which he saw as a symbol of the power of Western technology. This encounter not only reflected the Qing's growing interest in foreign cultures, but also marked the beginning of a complex and often contentious relationship between China and Europe. In 1708, the Kangxi Emperor faced a significant challenge when his son, Yinreng, was implicated in a plot to overthrow him. The emperor, known for his wise and just rule, was forced to take drastic measures, imprisoning Yinreng and stripping him of his title as crown prince. This event highlighted the intricate web of court politics and the ever-present threat of succession crises that plagued the Qing Dynasty. As the 18th century progressed, the Qing Empire continued to expand its borders, annexing vast territories in Central Asia and establishing trade agreements with neighboring states. The Qianlong Emperor, who succeeded the Kangxi Emperor in 1735, oversaw a period of unprecedented prosperity and cultural flourishing. He was a patron of the arts, and his court attracted scholars, poets, and artists from all over China. During his reign, the Qing Empire reached its zenith with a population of over 300 million people and a territory that stretched from the Pacific to the Caspian Sea. However, beneath the surface of this prosperity, signs of trouble were emerging. The Qing's military, once the backbone of the empire, had grown complacent and corrupt, while the bureaucracy was plagued by inefficiency and nepotism. The emperor's own family was not immune to these problems, with his sons and grandsons often engaging in petty squabbles and power struggles. As the Qianlong Emperor grew older, he became increasingly isolated and out of touch with the realities of his empire, surrounding himself with sycophants and yes-men who dared not speak truth to power. In 1793, a British diplomatic mission led by Lord Macartney arrived in China, seeking to establish formal trade relations and secure concessions from the Qing government. The Qianlong Emperor, confident in his own superiority, rebuffed the British overtures, famously declaring that the Celestial Empire had no need for foreign goods or alliances. This haughty response would prove to be a grave miscalculation, as it marked the beginning of a long and fraught relationship between China and the Western powers, one that would ultimately contribute to the downfall of the Qing Dynasty. As the Qianlong Emperor's rejection of Lord Macartney's diplomatic mission marked the beginning of a tumultuous relationship between China and the Western powers, the seeds of discontent and rebellion were already being sown within the Qing Empire itself. The once mighty empire was plagued by internal strife, corruption, and inefficiency, which would eventually contribute to its downfall. In 1800, the Qing Emperor ascended to the throne, but his reign was marked by a series of natural disasters, including floods, droughts, and earthquakes, which further weakened the empire. The early 19th century saw the rise of the Taiping Rebellion, a civil war that would last for over a decade and claim millions of lives. The rebellion, led by Hom Xiuquan, a Christian convert who claimed to be the brother of Jesus Christ, aimed to overthrow the Qing Dynasty and establish a heavenly kingdom on earth. Although the rebellion was eventually put down in 1864, it had a profound impact on the Qing Empire, weakening its military and economy. The Opium Wars, which began in 1839, marked another significant turning point in the history of the Qing Dynasty. The wars, fought between China and Western powers, including Britain, France, and the United States, resulted in the forced opening of Chinese ports to foreign trade and the cession of Hong Kong to Britain. The Treaty of Nanjing, signed in 1842, marked the beginning of a period of unequal treaties, which would see China forced to accept humiliating terms and concessions from Western powers. The late 19th century saw the rise of reform movements within the Qing Empire, including the self-strengthening movement, which aimed to modernize China's military and economy. However, these efforts were ultimately unsuccessful in stemming the tide of decline. In 1911, the Xinhai Revolution, led by Sun Yat-sen, overthrew the Qing Dynasty, marking the end of imperial rule in China. As the Chinese historian Wang Fuji once observed, "The rise and fall of dynasties is like the ebb and flow of the tide. It is a natural phenomenon." The Qing Dynasty's legacy is complex and multifaceted, marked by both significant achievements and profound failures. Its impact on Chinese history and culture cannot be overstated, shaping the country's language, art, literature, and politics for centuries to come. Today, the Qing Dynasty is remembered as a period of grandeur and decline, a testament to the transience of imperial power. The Forbidden City, once the seat of imperial authority, stands as a reminder of the dynasty's former glory, while the humble tomb of the Qianlong Emperor serves as a poignant symbol of the fleeting nature of human achievement. The legacy of the Qing Dynasty can be seen in the modern Chinese state, which continues to grapple with the challenges of balancing tradition and modernity. The Communist Party's emphasis on nationalism and cultural heritage is, in part, a response to the perceived humiliations of the Qing era, while the country's rapid economic development is driven by a desire to reclaim its former status as a global power. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.